everyone. Let's discuss on the very important domain and very huge domain, mutual fund domain in knowledge and in a perspective of business analyst. So I am working on the mutual fund domain in order education side. So I know very well that domain. So I'll explain you, how that domain will work, what are the parties involved in that domain. Before we are get starting this video, please like and subscribe my channel so that will be motivate me to create more videos for you. So let's start on the discussion on the mutual fund domain knowledge for the business analyst role. So first one is the introduction to mutual fund. I'll give you the introduction of mutual fund. So basically mutual fund is a professionally managed investment fund that pool the money from the very different types of investor like individual investor, corporate investor, NBFCs to purchase the securities. So it is and the professional, there are the professional active or the passive funds. They have the professional person, fund manager, they manage your the funds on behalf of you, and they take a decision, investment decisions. So you just need to invest your money in the mutual funds, and the investor will buy the units and represent the portion of the funds and holding. You will get the units, and that indicate that how much funds, the portion you have from that entire holdings. And the mutual fund schemes or the securities are managed by the asset management company, and they have the trustees. The asset management companies example like SDFC AMC, SBI AMC, Kotak Mahindra AMC, or the Canara Rebico, or the Aditya Birla AMC. So there are the n number of AMCs, and that AMC will need to tag with the RTA, registered transfer agent. So the core principle of the mutual fund are it is a diversification. There are and the professional management and affordability. Anyone can invest in the mutual fund scheme with the minimum investment amount, maybe the 100, 200, 500 or 1000 to get the returns from that. And the benefits of the investor to invest in the mutual funds like a diversification, liquidity, it is a very liquid fund, and the professional management, they get chance to manage their investment by professionals. They have the knowledge and skill in the investment, so they are manage their fund. And affordability, anyone can afford to buy the mutual funds. And transparency, it will be the 100% transparent. The mutual fund journey, you can see the SID document or the mutual fund scheme oriented document, so to verify the best scheme. And the key concept in the mutual fund is the net asset value, we also called as a NAV. So it now indicate that the per unit price of the fund, how much the price of that fund in a per unit, so that's indicate by the now. So now, so let's move on. The next slide is a key stakeholder in the mutual fund ecosystem. So it is and the huge ecosystem of mutual fund. And in that ecosystem, what are the stakeholder will involve? So first one is investor, asset management companies, trustees, custodian, register and transfer agent, distribution and advisor, and regulatory bodies. Okay, so investor is and the individual, ultra HNI client, corporate institution, they wants to buy some scheme, AMC scheme, to invest their funds in the mutual fund. So these are the investors who invest in actual the mutual fund scheme. So asset management company which issue the scheme, so manage the funds investment, to the fund with the help of fund manager. And it is a responsible for fund performance, marketing and investor services to provide them. Example of the asset management companies are the ICICI Prudential AMC, SBI Mutual Fund, SDFC Mutual Fund, Aditya Birla Mutual Fund, Canara Robeco. Okay, these are the examples of AMC. And then there is a trustee. So each AMC will appoint the trustee, oversee the AMC to ensure the compliance and regulations, and the investor interest. So that's managed by the trustees, and it handle the asset of funds in the trust of investor, how to handle his funds, how to do their things. And then the key stakeholder is a custodian. The custodian, the key roles are the safeguard the security and asset of mutual fund, to make sure that security will safe, to store the data, handling the settlement of trade, how the trade will happen, to manage their entire thing done by the custodian. And the most important thing is the next, that is a register and transfer agent, and we also called as a RTA. In India there is only two RTA, one is a CAMP and another one is a CARVI, and now we call it as a KFIN technology, KFIN technology. So let's the understand the key roles and responsibilities of the register and transfer agent. It maintain the investor record, unit holder, they have the entire record. They collect the feed file and they send the reverse feed file to the broker, and the process the transactions like subscription, redemption, switches, SIP, SWP, STP. They do the process of these all the mutual fund transactions, and handle the dividend payout and dispatch the statement, how the dividend will pay the scheme. So there the demerge of scheme or the dividend payment. So these all things handled by the register and transfer agent. And the revenues spared, broker charge, broker fees, all these things are the register handling by the uh, register and transfer agent. So each AMC will have the one register and transfer agent, and then the distributor and advisors. It helps choose the suitable funds whenever the investor wants to invest in the particular scheme. So there is the distributor and advisor, they help to choose the appropriate scheme for the investment and to get the appropriate return. Banks and the financials advisor and the online platforms are the examples of the investment and advisors. And the most important and the last one but not least is a regulator. So the regulator in India like Security Exchange Board of India, or the Association of Mutual Funds in India. So these are the regulator for the mutual fund ecosystem or the mutual fund product. So let's move on the next slide, which is the types of mutual funds. So I'll give you the detailed description of each type of mutual funds and their the classification. So first is a classification by its asset class. So on the basis of asset class, there will be classify the mutual fund. First one is the equity fund. So invest in primary stocks, large cap, mid cap, small cap, multi cap, sectorial, themes, ELSS. So the more than the 50% investment of that mutual fund scheme will be in the equity funds or the equity oriented scheme. And the debt fund, it invest in the fixed income securities, the bonds, debenture, government securities, municipal bond, the private companies bond. So liquid, the ultra short duration corporate bond, gilts and credit risks are all the part of the asset class of the debt funds. And the hybrids, where the some portion of in equity and the for some portion on in the debt. It is and the investment in a mix of equity and debt, balance advance, aggregative hybrid, conservative hybrid, and arbitrage. Then another classification is a gold fund and ETF, invest in a gold or gold related instrument. So that's the another class. And the international fund, invest in a global equities and the debt to get the more return. So these are classification done on the asset class basis. So then classification on the structure, there is the open ended, close ended, interval. So the open ended can be bought and sold at any time at any nav. And the close ended funds are fixed maturity, traded on the exchange, in exchange, stock exchange. So these are no traded on the stock exchange. And the interval, open for the subscription, redemption at a specific interval. So on the interval fund, or that the interval, anyone can buy and sell that the mutual fund schemes. And the classification by investor objective, growth fund, income fund, tax saving schemes, tax saving fund, and the other types of funds, FOF, exchange traded fund, and the solution oriented fund. So all these are the types of the mutual funds by their the classification. Okay, let's move on the next slide. The fund structure and the operation. So what is the how the mutual fund structure look like, and what are the operational are involved. So first one is a fund sponsor and the settler establish the mutual fund, and then the trust, the legal entity that hold the asset of mutual funds, and they can manage their the entire assets of mutual fund. And then most of the key stakeholder is a asset management company, appoint by the trustee to manage the funds. It is an appoint by the trustee to manage the funds, the fund offering new fund offer and the ongoing funds. Initial offering of new fund will be there in, whenever the scheme is launched by the AMC, so new fund offering will done, and the ongoing offers continues buying and selling of units in open ended funds. And then the key operational flow are the what are the transactions types in the mutual fund are the subscription, redemption, switch, systematic investment plan, systematic withdrawal plan, systematic transfer plan, and the additional purchase or the additional subscription. So investor invest in money and units are allocated. Investors sell the unit and recovery the money. Switch moving the internal from this scheme to other within the same AMC. Systematic transaction, regular the fixed instrument, regular the fixed withdrawal, and the regular transfer of one scheme to another scheme. So that's are the six type of the transactions for the mutual fund. So let's move on the next slide. So investment process and the transaction life cycle. So how the investment will happen, how the transaction typical life cycle will look like. So investor onboarding. So there first we onboard the invest. So know your customer. We do the KYC compliance and mandatory. We collect the PAN card, address proof, ID proof, and the bank detail for the further detail. And then the KRA KYC register agency will do their asks, and then the transactions channel like online, AMC website, distribution platform, AMC stock, and then the offline like the branch offices, RTA services center. So that's the online transaction. Then the subscription process, redemption process. The subscription will the application submission, payment, fund realization and unit allotment, and the confirmation. Finally will check the holding statement or the transaction statement of the subscription order. And then the redemption, application submission, unit divided, fund payout, bank detail, and the confirmation will done. And then the redemption order execution will done. The cutoff timing and the important of determining or the applicable nouns. The settlement cycle T plus 1, T plus minus 2, and T minus 3 depending on the future type of the transactions happen in that trade. So let's move on the next slide, that is a regulatory landscape and the compliance. Okay, there is the regulator are the Security Exchange Board of India, Association of Mutual Fund in India. So the what are the key roles of the Security Exchange Board of India is the primary regulator for the mutual funds or the investment products, and the formulate the regulation like SEBI Regulation Act in 1996 ensure the investor protection and market integrity and transparency. There is no fraudulent transactions will happen. So make sure that the investor protection to protect the investment fund, market integrity and transparency. So next one is the regulator is Association of Mutual Fund in India, we also called as a MP, self-regulated organization for the Indian mutual fund industry, and they promotes the ethical practical investor awareness and industry development for the MP. And the key compliance areas are the disclosure name, valuation norms, advertising code, risk management, anti-money laundering, and cyber security are the key areas that cover by the business analyst in that domain. Offer the document SID, key fact sheet, portfolio closure, fair the valuation and asset NAV calculation, guideline for marketing and advertising, and the policies and procedure for managing the various types of requirements. So that's the regulatory compliance and the compliance. So let's move on the next slide is a key concept for the business analyst. So what are the key concept in a mutual fund industry? So that's the business analyst should understand. So first one is a NAV, expense ratio, total expense, underlying asset under management, entry and exit load, dividend capital, and the direct plan, regular, and the FATCA, so CRS. So in the net asset value, so calculate the daily net asset value. So it is used by the formula of total asset minus total liability divided by the number of outstanding, crucial for the pricing transaction. It is morely used in the pricing of the transactions. And the expense ratio, total expense ratio, Okay, the annual percentage of funds asset used to cover the operating expenses, input investor return, asset under management, total in asset under management. So we should do the total market value of all asset managed by the AMC, indicate the size of popularity and the fund house, how the fund house will look like. So that's all things we cover into the asset under management. And there is the, the investor will have the entry load charge, exit load charge. Okay, that should be there. So that should be there. So charge lease at the time of purchase or the redemptions, and the SEBI has will is the entry load, and the exit load are common for the short term redemptions. If you are investing in the short term, so you should bear the exit load. So dividend and the capital gain, why the investor receive the return from the funds, so that should be there. And the tax implications, so these are the key concept. And the direct plan versus the regular plan. In a direct plan, no commission paid to distributor, lower the expenses. In regular plan, commission paid to the distributor better, and higher the expression expense for the ratio for the regular plans. And the facta and CRS compliance requirement for the foreign tax reporting. There is the act of the FATCA, so to collect the FATCA details of the customers and to manage all these things of the customer. So these are the key concept for the business analyst. And while working on the different kinds of product, so they these should know the business analyst. It is the prerequisites things to understand the business analyst. Now expense and total expense ratio, asset under management, entry load, exit load, dividend capital, direct plan and regular plan, and the FATCA CRS. So let's move on the next slide, which is a technology and the systems in a mutual fund. So you should understand what are the technologies used in the mutual fund and what are the systems are involvement to process the entire mutual fund things. So fund accounting and the systems, transfer agency systems, order management system, risk management system, customer relationship management system, data warehouse, and the business intelligence. So fund accounting system is a track the fund's assets, liability, income, expense, and the NAV calculations or the daily valuations. So that all thing we do in the fund accounting system. And then there is a transfer agency system is manage the investor account professions transaction, generate the statements and help the to investor to understand their the holding pattern or the holdings status. And the order management systems managing and execution the trade for the mutual funds to do entire thing. And then the risk management system, RMS, monitor and manage the risks, investor risks, understand the investor risks and the bearing capacity to do the risk analysis matrix. And then the customer relationship management, how to manage the customer relationship or the investor relationship to the investments, and monitor and manage the investor risks. And the customer relationship management, data warehousing, data integration, and the system for reporting and analysis. These are the core systems for the mutual funds. And then the integration points like bank, payment gateway, account settlement, stock exchange, ETF trading, KYC agency, KRA, CKYC, payment aggregating, and the emerging technologies like AI, ML for analysis, blockchain for record keeping, and the robo advisors is there for the technology system in mutual funds. Let's move on the next slide. That is the challenges in a future trade. So what are the challenges which are faced by the business analyst, and what are the future trades in the mutual fund industry? So the intense and competitive and fee pressure, and the regulatory changes and compliances burden continuously. There are the regulatory changes and they want compliance and customized system. So this thing is there. And the market volatility and inefficiency, uncertainty, investor awareness and financial literacy gaps, cyber security threat, and the legacy IT system. So that's are the challenges faced by the business analyst while working on the a mutual fund domain. So trade futures, digitalization, personalization, passive investment, ESG, investing, robo advisory, and data analysis and regulatory sandbox. So in data, which digitalization increase the adoption of online platform, mobile application, internet banking to gain the data, to understand the data. Then personalization, tolerance the investment and solution advice, passive investing, growth of ETF and the send in inbox in index funds, and then the focus on environment, social and the governance, and the leverage for the data for better insights and decision making, and the sandbox innovation in a controllable way. So these are the key challenges or the future trends so business analysts will have. The role of business analyst in mutual fund, okay, is to understand the business requirement, process improvement, system implementation, and then the regulatory compliance, data reporting, stakeholder management. These are the key roles of business analyst in mutual fund industry, and to work on that how we should do in the mutual fund industry. So let's understand the business requirement, initiation, analyze. So all these things done by business analyst, and I already explained in this thing in detail. So let's move on. The next slide is the key skill for mutual fund BS. The business analyst should have the strong domain knowledge, understanding the mutual fund product operation and the regulations, how it will happen. It should have the key analytical skills, ability to break down complex problem, analyze the data, the process solutions, and the communication skill, excellent in verbal written communication for interacting with the diverse stakeholder, to understand their the needs and to build system accordingly. And then the documentation skills and the technical adopted, understanding the IT systems and software and the cycles and the stakeholder management, and management, building the relationship with managing the expense and adaptability, the key keep with the involving with the market trend and technology. So these are the key skill set for the business analyst. And then the first one is a conclusion. So recap for the uh, powerful, the mutual fund offer the powerful investment vehicle, and industry is dynamics. Be a business analyst play a crucial role involving the deriving the frequency, innovation, and the compliance within the sector. So that's the thing and the conclusion of business analyst. If you have any open questions, please connect. I'll be there for help you. Thank you guys for attending my seminar. Thanks.